here somewhere, but I actually have hit my $1 million mark. Woo, yay. Late last year, I think October of last year is when I realized it. And that is not to congratulate myself. That is not even to give myself any credit because that's all God's abundance, all his glory. I am thankful to have made it to that $1 million mark. But I use that not to brag, only to give inspiration. Because when you change your thoughts, you change your life, period. Hello, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris Garza. I am so excited for today's episode because we are going to be talking about how to rewire your brain in all areas of life. If you clicked on this, I know that you are excited too. And I have so much to share with you on this because as we get into it, hopefully that it's just going to flow and make sense because I have created a theory and a framework for everyone that they can download in the description below for this that will help you because honestly, when it comes to reprogramming and rewiring your brain, it's all about your thoughts. If your thoughts are negative and if they are limiting, if they are self-sabotaging, if they are not creating space for you to grow, then we're going to talk about it, but it's going to be a trickle-down thought and a trickle-down effect in your life. What my framework is the trickle-up effect, having upward thoughts that create your new reality that are allowing you to rewire your brain for abundance. That is the summation of the video, but I need you to hang in there with me because I'm going to give you the tools and the exact steps for you to do this too today. So before we do that, though, I have an exercise and I need you to get out a pen and paper or pull out your phone, right? We all have notes apps, so what am I saying? But anyway, I want you to write out in what areas of life you don't feel like you are experiencing your full abundance, whether that be your relationships with your family, your spirituality, your mindset, your time, your finances, your creativity, whatever that is for you, I need you to write it down. If it's multiple, write down multiple because these are the areas that you're going to want to focus on. We all have things that come up in our lives that keep us stuck and limited and don't go past a certain level of consciousness for us because we've set a bar in our lives and in our minds of what is possible and what's capable of us for achieving that level of success. And these are the barriers that we're going to break down today. And we all have it. So for me, I have been so blessed and so fortunate, thanks to the grace of God, that I have had quite a bit of abundance, I feel, in my relationships, my spirituality, my mindset, my family, and my finances. Of course, there are new levels to everything we do. So I know that, there is no limit, there is no ceiling. So I'm actively always working on creating more abundance in all of those areas. But the things that I'm working on now, creating abundance for in my life, are creativity and time. And I have used this method for some time now without even realizing at the time that I was doing it. So I just made it a theory and a framework. But I will give you a caveat, okay? Because the title of this video is Rewiring and Reprogramming Your Brain in 3 days. Sis, you can start today. It takes 1 day. Has it taken me longer? Has it taken me years to reprogram and rewire my brain? Yes. Okay. But that is why I'm here today sharing this with you because I was not like you. I was not watching videos and trying to change my life and reprogram my mind and think of my thoughts in a different way and have them work for me as opposed to against me. Like I wasn't even at that level of consciousness like you are today. So I've done all the hard work for you to be successful now. And that's why I've created that thought therapy workbook because it is instrumental in how I live my life now. And I'm going to give you a story because I have created some abundance and success in my life and I'm going to share it on the screen, maybe right here somewhere, but I actually have hit my $1 million mark. Woo, yay. Late last year, I think October of last year is when I realized it. And that is not to congratulate myself. That is not even to give myself any credit because that's all God's abundance, all His glory. I am thankful to have made it to that $1 million mark. But I use that not to brag, only to give inspiration. Because when you change your thoughts, you change your life. Period. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think. That is what happens. Like I said, when you put a cap on yourself, when you say, this is the limit that I have set for myself, someone out there watching this has told themselves their current level of consciousness has says that their one stream of income at their job is all they are capable of making at this point in time. If they don't have another stream of income, or if they, you know, have that one job, maybe they want to have two jobs and have like double the salary. I don't know what that means for you as far as your abundance. I have a different view of what you may have for abundance, but I know that for me, when I decided that I needed more financial abundance in my life, it wasn't coming from a place of I actually lacked finances. I will tell you guys that I'm not great with money. Like, so this can be done, is what I'm saying. I'm not a budgeter. I don't really watch what I'm spending. In fact, the reason that I found out that we hit the $1 million mark is because my husband was concerned about my spending. And I say that because I'm not a crazy spender, but who doesn't like to get packages on Amazon delivered to their house every day? I have two children. Like, they need things, right? So I'm making an excuse. I'm joking, but I'm also kind of serious. The reason that we found out that we hit the $1 million mark was because he was concerned. And it was funny to me because I knew we weren't in as bad of a situation as he was thinking we were, but we had no way of collectively bringing all the things that we had together in one place until we found Rocket Money. This was not a sponsorship, okay? I just like using them because it actually allows you to consolidate things into one place. They weren't able to get two of our larger investment accounts in there because I just guessed that they're like smaller firms and they don't have those on their platform, like as far as connecting those two accounts. So I even have like another, I think 160K in both of those accounts that I can't add, but I know it's there, right? Like I can go to the individual portals and see it. So I'm thankful and happy for that. But I really do like Rocket Money because it pulls everything into one space. So that is a screenshot that I showed you that I found out late last year that we hit that mark. I think we hit it before, clearly, because I had a little extra money somewhere else. But who knew? Who knew? Like sometimes, guys, you just got to pull that stuff together and you got to look at it. And sometimes it'll reveal more to you, whether that be good or bad, than you think. But the reason I say this is that I created more financial abundance for myself because I decided I was tired of either living in scarcity, living in fear, or living in lack over my finances. I knew that I have a 9 to 5 job and I still do, and I'm thankful for it because we do have 2 6-figure salaries that allow us to contribute and get this number, but we also have 2 kids in daycare. If you have 2 children in daycare, you know, okay? Never thought I would have hit this mark with 2 children and get to daycare. Like, so by the grace of God. But I will say that it came from investing. I'm not a broker. I am not a financial advisor. I have no real knowledge of anything when it comes to finances and dealing with like managing money. I don't. I'm a regular woman, probably like you are watching this video. And I just decided one day during an inner work session that I had, and I don't even think it was around money. Like I've had a lot of inner work sessions and I just like focusing on my thoughts, my feelings, and things like that. But for some reason, a couple of years ago, probably about 2.5 years ago, I decided that I was not going to live in lack and scarcity over money anymore and that I needed to create another stream of income. And I didn't really want to work hard for it because I was already tired from my actual job. So I tried a couple of other ventures that we won't even talk about because they're not important. They did not make me any money. But I had seen some people online in their 20s. And mind you, I'm mid 30 now, like I'm in my mid 30s. When I realized I hit the $1 million mark, it was right before my mid 30s. So just to give you some context, not that it matters. Like sometimes people, doesn't matter what age they are, they want to be a millionaire. So I am thankful for that, but I'm just giving you some context. But I had seen some people, y'all, in their 20s just investing and making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing a bunch of nothing. And I was like, no, I can do this because it's not bigger than me. I can learn it. And I decided at that moment, and we're going to talk about it because it came from this framework that I'm going to talk to you about in a bit, that I am not available for worst case scenarios anymore. And that is really what happened, because when you go through life and people don't prepare you for things, or they want you to be afraid of things like investing and taking your finances seriously because they want to keep you kind of broke and stuck and relying on the government, that's not for me. Okay. And I know it's not for you either. If you're watching this, you want abundance in all areas of your life. So just because you weren't taught about investing in school, and no one in your family invests, and no one teaches you about these things, does not give you an excuse to not learn about things that you want to learn, especially if they're going to create abundance in other areas of your life. So I will say that, if you think you have an investment account and you're just investing through your, Roth IRA, through your company, or your retirement account, or your pension, or whatever, that's not enough. It's not enough. I have those accounts too. They're great, honestly. But if you can't touch it for until you're 65, no, we need to start looking at other ways to make money and create abundance for ourselves. So the theory behind this that I used, and I'm going to give you another example that you can use for the trickle up a theory, is I decided to stop looking at investing as a negative thing. I decided to stop thinking, what if I lost the money that I invested? What if it all goes bankrupt? What if I don't know, worst case scenario, what if I get addicted and I invest all this money and I lose my house? Like crazy stuff, right? Crazy stuff that you think it sounds silly, but this is the rabbit hole that we go into a lot of times, and that stops us from doing all of the things that we want to do. So for me, I decided to look at it a different way. I said, my trickle up what if scenarios turned into, okay, that person can do it. What if I actually took some money and invested it and I made money like they did? What if now I invested so much that, yeah, it loses money sometimes, but I know eventually it always goes back up because it has an average return rate of 9% per year. That does not compare to our savings account, ladies. That is 0.25% per year. Another discussion for another day. Take the money out of the savings, start investing. Okay, but I said, what if it started making money? What if it made so much money that it actually could replace my income one year? Which, mind you, I am on the way, ladies. I am on the way. Just dividends alone, which is the portion of money that a company pays you based on the earnings that they get from their sales. They give those out to the shareholders sometimes, whether that be monthly or quarterly, most likely quarterly, sometimes semi-annually, which means twice a year, and they pay you. Yes, you do have to pay taxes on this, okay? But you also have to pay taxes at your job. Would you rather pay taxes on 100K that you made doing a bunch of nothing, or would you rather pay the same amount, actually probably more, on just having a 100K job, like a year job? I will take both personally. That's just me. But I am telling you that because we are honestly very close in dividends and earnings alone, just having at least one of our incomes replaced per year. That is what changing my mindset from scarcity, lack, I don't know how to invest, I don't know what's going to happen, I'm going to lose money, to what if I actually made money? What if I made a lot of money? What if I replaced my salary? What if I wasn't afraid of investing? What if I even told other people to invest? It worked out for me personally. Does it work out for everyone? I don't know, honestly, but I will say that creating abundance seems scary sometimes, but it's only because of the limiting beliefs, the self-sabotaging thoughts, and the negativity that we have programmed in our brain to think of every day, that send us down these negative thought loops all the time, as opposed to looking at something as a positive thought loop and going up and up and up on the scale, just trying to think of the best possible scenario and the best possible outcome that can come from whatever decision you make. So like I said, I was going to give you two other examples of a trickle down thought and a trickle up thought. So if we think about a trickle down thought, something that you may think it sounds silly, you may think it sounds extreme, but this is honestly what we've been programmed to think in this society. And you don't even realize that you're doing it. But let's say you are at a 9 to 5 job. You have a meeting that you don't want to go to. But why do we all attend meetings? Most of us, at least. I won't say everybody does, but we all go to meetings. Chances are because we don't want our boss to be mad or frustrated with us. Because a thought going based off of this is that if our boss is mad or frustrated with us, we may get let go on the next round of layoffs, or they may fire us for like the most minor reason. If they fire us, then we can't pay our bills. If we can't pay our bills, then we're homeless. If we're homeless, then we failed at life. And if we're a failure at life, then just take us off the earth. You don't think it may sound silly, but that's why we do a lot of the things we do, especially at work, because we just don't want that worst case scenario to like happen. Okay. As opposed to a trickle up thought would be like, why does my boss want me to go to this meeting? I don't want to go. It's a waste of time. Maybe you can say, my boss may find me to be a really valuable member of the team and they may want my input, or maybe they think I'm really good at organizing meetings and keeping everybody on task, and maybe they know that I can finish this in 15 minutes. And maybe that's your new goal, is to finish every meeting in 15 minutes, because now you've thought about it more positively and you're like, yeah, I do have that skill set. I can shut it down. I can get the answers we need and we can move on with our day. That's wonderful. Will your boss tell you all this? Maybe not. Maybe they will. But sometimes it's not always because they want to ruin your day and ruin your life, and that's why they copied you and invited you to a meeting. Or they just want you to get up there, flounder, and then, be upset for the rest of the day. Sometimes they just want your valuable input. Or if it's none of those cases and you're just thinking like, okay, I don't particularly care for this job at this moment in time in my life. However, it pays the bills. It's great. And I've learned a lot of great skills that I can use whenever I start my business that I've been talking about for years. And now you are in a much more positive state of mind, right? Like, think about the benefits of having that job now, the benefits of executing, the benefits of making everyone happy and love you, and take that, all of the good knowledge, those good skill sets that you have, and apply them somewhere else, whether that be an interest, a hobby, a business, something outside of work. And I know that we can all say we feel drained, we feel tired. That's why we're not creating. That's why we're not moving around. That's why we have such negative thoughts. I am going to challenge that, because you have to. In fact, you have to. If you are rewiring your brain, you have to. I heard a genius creator, follow Myron Golden if you do not follow him today, right now, because he is incredible. But he is always talking about how he's so easily fascinated. And he gives this great example of intention and entropy. So entropy is things moving closer and closer to chaos and disorder and negativity. And that only comes from neglect. With intention, things can be cultivated, but they take a lot more time. So he uses the example of a lawn. Think of your lawn, or think of someone else's lawn. When you see a beautiful lawn, you see green grass, you see flowers possibly, you see that it's mowed, it's cut, it's heavily watered. Like, you can just tell someone takes care of that yard. Your brain is no different. That means somebody intentionally has woken up today and chosen to spend their time out in the yard, whether that be watering, mowing, taking care of the flowers, planting new ones, maybe pulling out the weeds, mulching. They are intentionally using their time, energy to take care of something that they think is important to them, being their lawn. Your brain runs off the same operating system. If you neglect it, like if you neglect a lawn, if you don't mow it for a month, if you don't weed eat it and take out all the weeds, they keep growing. But, if you don't take them out, it's just going to go and grow more and go into disorder. If you don't plant new flowers, they will die. If you don't water them, they will die. If you don't take care of your yard for a month, and you're not actively working on it for a month, it will naturally go into disorder. It has no choice. That's laws of nature. But if you cultivate it, you tend to it, you water it, you feed it, you nurture it, it's going to be taken care of. your mind is no different. You don't take care of your mind and negative thoughts keep running through it day in, day out, day in, day out, your mind will naturally go to disorder. You will think negative thoughts. You won't even realize it. You'll be on autopilot. You'll have bad mood swings. You'll be grumpy. You'll be grouchy. You'll be angry. You won't even know who you are in a year after you thought you were so happy. You were always taking care of your mind. But then you say, what have I really done for myself? What hobbies, interests have I invested in? Have I started that business that I said I wanted to start? Have I been reading? Have been cultivating my mind in any way? Have I just been letting my thoughts run my day and then create this feeling of chaos and overwhelm? And I've just been going with it because I didn't have the awareness. Not anymore. That's how we reprogram it. We catch the thought, and we're going to talk about that in a second with our framework. But the theory is, okay, we want to start the positive spiral of upward thoughts. Okay, how do we do that to prevent it from going into the negative entropy, downward trickle down, like negative thoughts? How do we stop that? And that is what we are going to talk about today, because there is a framework that I created that will help us get to the default being the positive trickle up theory of, okay, I want to take this $500 and I want to invest. What if I make a lot of money? What if I replace my income? What if I can retire earlier than I thought could retire? Or what if I can just quit my job altogether and live off of dividends? How do we get to that place naturally? So we start taking the steps now to work on our mind and say, okay, we're not going to default to worst case scenario. We're going to default to best case, most positive scenario. And that is how you rewire your brain. So the framework for that I came up with is TUPE. Don't ask me what it stands for. It's just TUPE, okay? And I'm going to put that again in the revamped thought therapy guide. And so the T is trigger awareness, catching the downward thought before it becomes a downward spiral, right? So when you catch yourself in the thought of, I don't want to go to this meeting, this is a waste of time, ask yourself, what good is that thought doing for me right now at this moment? Nothing. I'm just complaining. That's what's happening. Okay. And that's okay. We all have those moments where we realize that we are complaining, and that is okay, because now we're catching it. Now we're saying, okay, next step, what is a new positive thought that we're going to replace that with? And that is where the U comes up. Upward possibility thinking. Whether your trigger is, again, a meeting, being invited to the 15th meeting of the day, or whether your trigger is you don't even know what to wear today, so now your whole day is thrown off, you're in this downward spiral, you don't know how to feel, or maybe you wanted a certain type of breakfast that is all the way across town and you can't get to it right now, or maybe your kids have gotten up this morning and decided they don't care about your rules and they don't care about your feelings. And now they're going to do whatever they want. You're late to a meeting. You spill coffee on yourself. You are supposed to be presenting. Your boss is irritated. Whatever your trigger is for the day, not to say it doesn't matter. It's how are we going to change that now? Okay. We've already been triggered. The thought has already happened. We already caught the thought. We said, nope, we don't like that. How is that serving us? Right now, it's not. How do we create something that's more positive? So for your job, like I said, the more positive thought would be, my boss really values me as an employee and he knows that I can get this done in 15 minutes. So that's probably why he invited me to this meeting. Or I'm taking that skill set that I had learned in this job and now I'm going to expand it because maybe I was in marketing. Maybe I know how to create really engaging content. So that's what I'm going to do in my business. And I can take those skills and I can transfer them. So what is your upward positive thought? Instead of saying that everything's horrible, nothing's working out for you, how are we saying, okay, this wardrobe malfunction that I had this morning, it was not good. Okay, like maybe you cannot fit into your favorite pants anymore. Maybe you spilled ink or coffee or something all over your favorite shirt. How are we going to bounce back? Okay, you're saying, okay, I wasn't meant to wear that today. Okay, what's my next second favorite outfit that I could wear today? Or when your kids say, I'm not doing this with you today. I don't care about your feelings. You're going to be late and that's what's going to happen. Okay, my kids did not wake up and they did not listen to me today. How am I going to fix this? Sometimes kids just don't want to listen. And your boss will likely understand that. Message them beforehand and say, hey, I'm going to need an extra 15 minutes. I'm going to need you to run that meeting. And it is what it is. Sometimes it's just going to be, it is what it is. And that's going to be your positivity thought. Okay. But I want you to keep that in mind as we go to the next part of the framework, which is the P. Prioritize the next step. I talk about this so much in my videos, I don't know. But I have lived by this for a long time. What I used to do is try to eat the entire elephant and do everything all at once. I'm like, oh, want to start a business? I know what it is. I'm doing all the steps tonight and I'm going to launch this. That is not the way to do it. I will tell you that will not help you rewire your brain. In fact, you'll go down many downward spirals because you'll be overwhelmed, confused, lost, scared, and fearful. And that is not where we want to live, ladies. So what is our first action? Prioritize the next step, not 10 steps, not 50 steps, one step that you can take in order to get yourself out of this negative spiral. So you had the trigger. You said, okay, the meetings are my trigger. My positive thought now is that this job may not be for me right now, but I can take those skills and I can transfer them into the business that I've been talking about starting now for years. So like I said, maybe you're on the marketing team and you know how to create engaging content for your company. What is the first step that you can do in order to start engaging content or start engaging your clients for your business that you want to start? Now, maybe you start making one reel today. You start with one. Don't try to plan 15. I will tell you from personal experience, it will not work. It won't. Or if it does and you're that type of person, lovely. But if you are an average person that has limited time, availability, energy, maybe even have kids, don't do that. Take one small step today. Maybe you were in sales and you know how to engage with clients. You know how to create a network. If you're still at the job, don't use that time to engage with other people. But if you know how to do that, maybe today you start reaching out to one person on LinkedIn and just have a normal conversation. Don't try to sell them something right away. I mean, if you're that good and you already have something to sell and you feel like they're a warm lead, wonderful. But right now, just have a conversation. Start expanding your network, using the skills that you gather from that job and make them more fun. Just talk to someone new. Instead of saying, I'm too tired, I don't have the energy for this, you're closing yourself off to so many infinite possibilities in your life, which is where the reprogramming comes from. This is why you have to create that statement. And I want you to write that statement down. Whatever your positivity statement is, that's going to help you reframe and reprogram your mind that you came up with. Like I said, with the job, maybe my manager just wants me here. They want me to lead the meeting. They are confident in my abilities. Okay, this job isn't for me right now, but I know that I can use these skills and transfer them into the new business that I want to start. Write it down. So every time that you are triggered, whenever that trigger comes up for you, you have to reference it. This could, like I said, be done in a day. But if you really want to solidify it with this framework and to create that trickle up theory mentality and way of thinking, you have to solidify it. You got to write it down. And when you write it down and you get triggered, because now you have the awareness of the negative thought that's creeping in, read it. Just read it. Just read it. Pause, read one sentence, and keep going. And I promise you that alone will start reprogramming and reshaping your thoughts. And once you start reading it for the next 3 days, then you can start implementing the one action that you want to take in order to get to that next level upward positivity thinking statement that you just created. And I hope that makes sense. But the last part of the framework that is arguably, in my mind, one of the most important, but it will seem like, oh, I don't need the E, which is execute with faith. I say this is the most important because, again, you can rewire your brain right now. You can start saying, I had a negative thought this morning. I didn't like that. Maybe let me go back and think about that and think about how I can make it positive. Or I'm having one right now about this video and this girl's crazy. How can I shape that thought into something more positive, more abundant? That way I can take that thought and create a more positive, abundant lifestyle for myself in the long run. This is where the execute with faith comes in. You won't likely see immediate, tangible results when you start reprogramming and rewiring your brain. However, if you stay on this and you keep going, you will. You have no choice. Like, this is a law of energy. This is just life physics, right? When you keep working on something, it's either going to work on you or it's going to work for you. Eventually, it's going to work on you. Okay. You're going to feel like this is overwhelming. I'm having too many negative thoughts. I don't like this. I have never really thought about my thoughts like this. My lawn is growing. I have weeds everywhere. Like, my mind is not being cultivated. It has not been nurtured. It has not been tended to in a long time. So it's going to feel unpleasant. But when you keep weed eating, when you keep mowing that yard, when you keep replanting those flowers, which is changing the thoughts that you have in your mind every single day, you will see long-term tangible results. You just have to keep cultivating this new positive mindset. That way, you just start to have those default into the positive trickle up effects. So, like I said, the theory is the end goal. How do we default from negative to positive? How do we do that? It is the framework, the TUPE framework that I shared with you, that is, again, in the guide below. This is how we get there. So I want you to continue to execute with faith. I want you to continue to be aware of your thoughts, and I want you to continue to cultivate and rewire and reprogram your brain and use the resources that are already available that I created for you, because I am so passionate about this, guys. I swear that when you change your thoughts, you will change your life. Like I said, I had no idea that I hit the million dollar mark. To be honest, I did nothing to celebrate. Once you get there, you'll be like, oh, that's nice. It's lovely. But you have so much abundance in your life. I want a multi-million dollar mark. That's what I want. But I know that I have to start now. I have to start with where I'm at in order to reach that next level of my life and create even more abundance for myself in life. So again, the resources are linked below in the description. I also do offer coaching. If anyone is interested, if you still feel like you cannot get past these negative limiting thoughts and beliefs that you have, and you still self-sabotage and you still cannot create abundance in your life, I do encourage you to book a call, because an investment in your future is also an investment for me to help cultivate this community and help get us to a collective awareness where we can have anything we want. Call me delusional. I never really got on that movement, but now the more I learn about rewiring and reprogramming your brain, I'm like, I was so capped. I was so limited in so many areas of my life. Now that I'm like pulling up the layers, I'm like, this is endless. Like, I can create so much love and abundance in my home, so much abundance with my finances, with my spirituality. I'm making some guides now that are going to be like spirituality inner work guides. I'm so excited because there really is no limit. We are only placing these limits on ourselves, ladies. So again, if you need help with this, if you continue to struggle with this after downloading the guide, book a call, because I have helped women get past some of these limiting beliefs, these negative thoughts and self-sabotaging tendencies that we tend to have that prevent us from rewiring our brains and getting to that abundance. If you have any questions though, leave me a comment and I will get back to you, because I absolutely want to help you reach that next level in your life. Until next time, hope this was helpful. Bye.